Greetings. Today, I'll be presenting an evidence-based ACL injury prevention program tailored for a 22-year-old female central midfielder competing at semi-professional academy level. Let me begin by introducing the athlete. She is a 22-year-old female, plays as a central midfielder, and is currently training and competing at a semi-professional academy. She trains 4 times per week, competes in 1 or 2 matches weekly, depending on the fixture schedule, and completes one strength and conditioning session. Although she has no prior ACL injury, she reports occasional anterior knee discomfort post-match. A previous mild ankle sprain demonstrates medial knee collapse during squatting and cutting, all of which are known risk factors of ACL injury in female footballers. Introduction. In football, one of the most significant and potentially career-altering injuries is a rupture of anterior cruciate ligament. This key ligament stabilizes the knee during high-risk movements like cutting, pivoting, and landing, all of which are common in the sport. ACL injuries in football occur at a rate of roughly 0.06 per 1,000 hours of exposure, with a higher incidence during the matches than in training, largely due to increased intensity and unpredictability. Unfortunately, the consequences are long lasting. Research shows that only 33% of players return to football within a year of surgery, and just 55% regain their pre injury level of play. Given the significant impact on physical performance, career progression, and mental health, ACL injury prevention has become a critical focus in football performance planning, especially for high-risk populations such as female athletes. Let us take a quick look at the anatomy involved. As we zoom in from the leg to the knee, we can see that the knee is a complex hinge joint made up of three bones: the femur, the tibia, and the patella. The ACL, located deep within the knee, runs diagonally from the posterior aspect of the femur to the anterior part of the tibia. It functions to prevent excessive forward movement of the tibia relative to the femur and controls rotational stability, especially during dynamic movements like cutting, pivoting, or landing. As we zoom in further, we can see a depiction of an ACL tear. A rupture compromises knee stability and often leads to associated damage, including a meniscal tear or a cartilage injury. Epidemiology. ACL injuries are a major concern in football, especially among female players. In elite Norwegian football, the ACL injury rate is 0.063 per 1,000 match hours, higher in women than in men, with the top male division reaching for about 0.41 per 1,000 hours, indicating a strong link between intensity and injury risk. Most injuries occur during matches, with 46% due to tackling and offensive players more affected. In professional women's football, ACL injuries account for 4.6% of all injuries, with a higher incidence during matches compared to training. Midfielders are often affected due to cutting and pivoting. Over 70% of cases require reconstruction, yet only 50% return to play, often due to psychological and functional barriers. Alarmingly, female players face 27% of secondary ACL injury risk, double of that of males. Physiology. Hormonal fluctuations, particularly estrogen peaks during menstrual cycle, may reduce collagen synthesis and increase ligament laxity. Anatomical differences such as a wider pelvis, greater Q angle, narrower intercondylar knot, and smaller ACL size can reduce joint stability. Environmental factors like surface type and fatigue can further compromise movement control. Neuromuscular deficits such as poor landing mechanics and delayed hamstring activation increase dynamic knee valgus and anterior tibial shear. These modifiable factors are key targets in ACL injury prevention program. Risk factors. ACL injuries in football result from both non-modifiable and modifiable risk factors. Factors like female sex, past injuries, and anatomical traits, such as wider Q angle or smaller ACL, lowers the ligament's injury threshold. However, it's modifiable risks that often tip the balance. Poor neuromuscular control, hip and core weakness, delayed hamstring activation, and dynamic knee valgus increase strain on cutting and landing or deceleration. Fatigue further amplifies these deficits, reducing coordination and stability under match stress. The good news is the risk factors are screenable and trainable, making prevention both possible and essential. Risk analysis. Female footballers aged 18 to 25 face up to 8 times higher ACL injury risk due to intrinsic factors like anatomy and hormonal fluctuations, combined with the high demands of football. Those without any prior neuromuscular training are especially vulnerable, showing poor control, delayed hamstring activation, and dynamic valgus, all key predictors of ACL rupture. Risk peaks in specific windows, such as late in the match due to fatigue, during the ovulatory phase when estrogen may weaken the ligaments, and in the first year post ACL surgery, where the re-injury rates can reach up to 27%. Even pre-season or return from break poses danger due to sudden load spikes on unprepared tissues. By identifying who's at risk and when, we can time our interventions for maximum impact. ACL injuries are highly prevalent in women's football, with majority occurring through non-contact actions like cutting and landing. But the good news is injury prevention programs, when well structured, can cut this risk up to 53%. This plan takes a tailored approach, targeting modifiable risk factors identified through screening and aligning with specific biomechanical and fatigue-based demands of football. Grounded in the strongest current evidence, it incorporates all key components proven to protect the ACL and support performance. Guide a targeted prevention strategy. This 21-year-old competitive female player underwent structured screening to identify modifiable risk factors. Three validated tools were used. The drop vertical jump test assessed landing mechanics, flagged excessive knee valgus, a key ACL injury predictor. The single leg squat evaluated dynamic control and trunk stability, while the Y balance test measured balance and limb symmetry, both essential for safe deceleration and cutting. Together, these tests reveal the athlete's neuromuscular deficits and provided the foundation for a personalized evidence-based prevention plan. Components of injury prevention plan. First is strength training. Based on the screening results, the strength training components prioritizes posterior chain activation and unilateral control. Key exercises such as Nordic hamstring curl and split squats were selected to address hamstring dominance and knee alignment, both essential for ACL protection. Glute and core focused movements like the glute bridge and side plank with abduction further improve lumbopelvic control and reduce valgus collapse. The program progresses over 4 weeks, starting with foundational strength and building towards functional intensity relevant to football performance. Plyometric component is designed to improve landing mechanics, reduce asymmetries, and build control during explosive movements, all critical to prevent non-contact ACL injuries in football. We begin by double-leg drop jumps to reinforce proper alignment and soft landings. Tuck jumps and scissor jumps are used to train plyometric control under fatigue, while the single-leg hop and stick teaches proprioception and stability during deceleration. Progression over 6 weeks ensures increasing challenge, incorporating unilateral and reactive drills, always with a focus on safe and aligned movements. Agility training in this injury prevention plan is designed to replicate the rapid directional changes seen in football, which often precede non-contact ACL injuries. Drills such as shuttle runs, zigzag cuts, and lateral shuffle to sprint combinations develop braking and turning mechanics, helping the athlete control knee alignment and deceleration. Reactive exercises like the Y-cut drills stimulate unpredictable movements common in gameplay and improve neuromuscular response under fatigue. This component is progressed over 4 weeks from basic patterns to fully reactive game-like challenges, all aimed at reducing ACL injury risk during sport-specific movements. Balance training enhances neuromuscular control and joint stability, which are key components of injury prevention plan. Drills like the single leg stance on foam and star excursion variations challenges proprioception and build postural control in multiple planes. The inclusion of perturbation and multitask exercises such as chest passes and reactive hops ensure that the athlete can maintain knee stability even under unpredictable or game-like conditions. Over 4 weeks, balance work progresses from static and controlled tasks to highly dynamic, reactive challenges, targeting the exact scenario where non-contact ACL injuries often occur. Flexibility training targets muscle tightness and imbalances that may predispose athletes to ACL injury. Limited range of motion, particularly in the hamstrings and quadriceps, can alter landing mechanics and movement patterns, increasing strain on the knee. Regular stretching and dynamic mobility work and addressing asymmetries can improve functional movement and reduce injury risk. Feedback. Feedback involves a real-time cue from the coaches or visual tools like video analysis to help athletes correct technique and reinforce proper movement patterns. Enhances motor learning, encourages neuromuscular control, and supports long-term behavioral change. When consistently applied, feedback can significantly reduce poor biomechanics linked to ACL injury. Barriers and solutions. ACL injury prevention program work, but only if they are done consistently. In real-world setting, your team often faces barriers like limited time, lack of space or equipment, lower player motivation, or coaches not fully understanding the program. To make it work, prevention needs to be simple and realistic. Exercises can be built into warm-ups, use minimal space, or just body weight, and be made fun and football specific. Most importantly, educating coaches and players on why it matters boosts buy-in. With the right approach, these programs can be practical, consistent, and truly effective at any level of the game. Key takeaways. ACL injuries are a serious concern in female footballers, but evidence-based prevention programs can significantly reduce risk up to 53% when consistently applied. This plan highlights 6 essential components, that is strength, plyometrics, agility, balance, flexibility, and feedback. Each element plays a unique role in enhancing neuromuscular control and reducing injury mechanics. While practical barriers exist, they can be addressed through adaptable design, education, and integration into regular training. Thank you.